Hello everyone, Sandi Clarkson here with you today for My Creative Scrapbook, sharing another process video using the October limited edition kit. And I'm going to be using this green plaid paper that I haven't used yet. On the back side of it is all the jack-o'-lanterns, if you recall that. And I'm going to scrapbook this photo of little granddaughter Zoe carrying her pumpkin there. I may use this little 4x4 for a mat, but I haven't fully decided on that. And then also, let me bring in, I'm going to use the Cutfile. I've already cut it out, and I think it's sized approximately 5x5, but a little bit over that. And then I went ahead and backed it and used, I looked around for what would be realistic for my leaves, and I saw this paper here and saw the little leaves in the corner, and I kind of laid my cutout on top of that and saw that that would work fairly nicely and realistically to simulate, you know, flowers in there. And then right now, I don't think I'm going to do anything behind the fun, because I'm also going to be bringing in this scrap that was from the leaf paper that I've used on a different layout. That would be really pretty like that, but let's see. I hadn't even thought about it, actually. I was kind of committed to the green. But then the leaves don't pop as much. And the reason I was kind of going with the green was because I originally was thinking about scrapping this photo right here where she's wearing a purple shirt. And I was going to try to pull the pinks and purples out from the kit. But then I decided to go with this other photo. So anyway, I have torn the edges of this with my tearing tool. And this is just an old one from Creative Memories. And I use this little bit smoother side. And I think I'm going to put this up kind of a little bit more near the top versus in the bottom of the page. But we'll think that through. And then I also had this scrap left from where I had used this paper on a different layout, and I wanted to keep a little bit of this orange, so I tore it right down the middle with this tearing tool, knowing that I was going to tuck in, you know, underneath the green. So I think that's what I'm going to do with that. I think I'm going to tuck that in, you know, on the top and bottom, like, you know, something like that. It doesn't have to be exact for me, just to tell you what I'm doing. And then use the Cutfile over here, and it will really pop, you know, with the green background. And then put my photo over here somewhere. And I was thinking about possibly this chipboard, or use the more cardstock one, which is a little bit larger, so I'll have to decide about that. And then I was thinking about using these florals that I haven't used yet, and you know, they could go kind of to the side like that. And then I'd like to bring in the scarecrow, so that could maybe go over here. So I have to position my photo so that I would have room, you know, for the scarecrow. And that'd look pretty good, wouldn't it? And then I was even thinking about bringing in this over the river and through the woods, maybe. And I had some florals kind of picked out. I've cut this out from the pattern papers also because it's just so pretty. It probably won't work on this layout, but I could actually probably use it with this photograph right here. But I don't really want to lose anything out of my picture, so I think I'm going to reserve that for something else. But anyway, then I've got some florals that, you know, three-dimensional flowers that I thought I could use, you know, kind of around the page, and, you know, maybe put some like that. So that's about as far as I've gotten so far, I think. And I have lots to choose from here from the kit. You know, we've got all the nice laser cut pieces from the 49 Market laser cuts, and, you know, all the pumpkins and other things from the die cut ephemera and florals and rub-ons, etc. So this is just kind of where I'm starting. So I think I'm going to go ahead and glue these pieces to the green, and then decide, do I want to be in the center? I think I want to be further up, even though that leaves a little space down here. Oftentimes I will, you know, place a large title like this a little lower, but I do want to use that green to more or less back the fun on the title there. So then that might allow me to add in some other kind of small element, you know, right there that's linear, you know, something like that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and adhere these couple of things, and we'll do the embellishments as we go. All right, now we're ready to assemble the page, and I did go ahead and mat that photo with the gingham paper that I had shown you earlier. And there I'm again auditioning the florals and the scarecrow just to make sure that I can accommodate both embellishments in that space to the left of the cut file. I also brought in a couple of tickets that I tucked in up there at the top left. I always like using tickets on my layout, and since we had those from the 49 Market laser pack, I decided to use them right there, and they'd be a nice little decorative piece. And here I'm using my T-square just to make sure that my photo is going to be in good alignment, and, you know, work with that just a little bit. And I do like the florals. Even though I lost some of the florals by tucking it under, I still really like how they look, and I decided not to cut any of it away because, you know, I might, you know, change my mind or whatever. But I do like it, and there I adhere the scarecrow directly to my photograph instead of like propping him up anything, because I need to get him over to the right a little bit so he lands on the photograph. And then for the little pumpkin cluster there on the left, I decided to go with the chipboard one versus the cardstock one that I was trying to decide between earlier. I just like the appearance of it, even though I think that the larger cardstock one would be fine. It would balance the fall fun cut file really nicely, but I just really like that one, and it seemed size appropriate. I did decide to go ahead and embellish it a little bit with some of the three-dimensional flowers that are included in the kit. And I used a pink one in a few places, I think, because there is some wine in the leaves, and so it pairs nicely with the other, you know, fall colors that we have in the kit. And then I decided to place an orange flower over there in the upper right corner, you know, by my photo, and decided to put that one right there. And then I fuss around a little bit with where to put flowers around my cut file, because I want to use some there even though it covers a little bit of the file. I just thought that would soften the edges a little bit and bring in the dimension that I like. You could see I also tucked in a white floral up there by the tickets. I always like to have flowers peeking out from those kinds of layers that we have on our pages. And there I'm committing to putting down that little pink one. And then I bring in a chipboard piece that is a book with some pumpkins and that kind of thing. And I decided that would be a good linear element for down below. but I also pulled over some word phrases that are from the cardstock stickers just to see if that would do the trick for filling in that kind of empty space right there. And it would have, but still I think it would have needed a flower or something. I felt like it needed something a little bit larger, so I wanted to go ahead and use this chipboard sticker. It's really pretty, and there I'm playing around with some different florals to put on it. And then I bring down one of those word phrases I had before. It says something about freshly picked, I believe. But anyway, I think it's such a cute photo of granddaughter Zoe there carrying her pumpkin at the pumpkin patch. So I put that there, and then also I bring another of the word phrases down and put it across the little pumpkin embellishment down there, because I thought that just kind of completed it, made it a little more generous. And there I'm still trying to figure out some flowers to use right there, but I do go ahead and put some corrugated cardboard on the back to elevate it, and put that down. And it looks like my title is not quite straight, and so I do come back later with my wallpaper knife and lift that and get that a little straighter. You know how it is, with our shoes. If our shoes are just a little bit off in our closet, we have to go back and move them around. Well, some of us do. All right, so there I'm trying the smaller flowers to see if that would work. And then here in a minute, you're going to see me bring in some of the die cut florals that are kind of smallish, and I hadn't really used them yet. So I'll tuck a few of those in here and there. So there, I've got it more straight to make myself happier. And there I'm looking for other elements. And then my dog is groaning in the background. Sorry about that. He's not happy with me filming, I guess. But anyway, I bring a bunch of those over, and I find a home for several of those. And I decided to put one right there on the book, and I think that really completes that area. And then I bring on over some more of different colors and so forth. And I do tuck a few of them in here and there, different places. I tried that larger floral, and that just didn't work. But I kind of wanted to cover something up right in there around the stem of that maple leaf. And so that's why I'm kind of messing around with these little florals. And then I do decide to tuck one up right there. And I do play around with that idea a little bit. But I do also add one, I believe, over there by the scarecrow, just to kind of fill in that little space. But here's the one I'm going to tuck right there under those layers. And that just kind of finishes that area out a little bit. Here is my finished layout after I did my paint splatters, and I'm going to have some close-ups here for you. There's details below about how you can order a kit. I appreciate you coming by. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.